maybe hear from Brendan later today. I am not sure yet, but he might be joining us for an early picks of the week. So we're going to have that coming up at 5:45 because we'll have a different type of show tomorrow for Cardinals Caravan. We decided to do picks of the week today, so we'll have that. We'll obviously talk about what happened yesterday, Mizzou men's basketball, as our texter James reminds us, ladies and gentlemen, your first place Missouri Tigers. Yeah, in the SEC standings, at least right now, they've got the top spots, but 4 other teams do as well. So that's the information that you kind of leave out for now. But hey, that's the perspective that you can take for how Mizzou has positioned itself at this point, and you can start to rethink what this team was not even a full month ago. So we're going to get to what went well last night in their game against Auburn. Call or text us with your thoughts, 573-875-KTGR. If you want to join us for it, we'll also talk some Mizzou basketball with Drew King, Mizzou beat reporter for PowerMizzou.com on all things hoops. He'll join us at 4:25, so stay tuned for that. We have some Chiefs thoughts today as well. Are we sure this would be a good idea on the new offensive coordinator, if there is in fact a new offensive coordinator? Because that even isn't necessarily a given itself. I mean, Matt Nagy has interviewed, it seems, for the head coaching job at the Titans, but still could be the Chiefs offensive coordinator. But could there be yet another redux on that? The guy who had it before him, maybe being talked about a little bit for getting the job back, Eric Bieniemy. What do you think about that possibility? Call or text us with that, 573-875-KTGR. Some thoughts on the NFL divisional round coming up this weekend. And as we talked about, picks of the week today at 5:45. So we'll get college hoops in, we'll get NFL picks in, and national championship on Monday night. That'll be included as well. 875-KTGR if you want to give us a call or a text. You can also tweet us at KTGR Big Show. We're live on YouTube right now, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports, and on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Mizzou got it done last night with the help of Jaden Stone providing a clutch and one bucket with less than 2 minutes to go to put the Tigers up 7 on Auburn. Stone finished with 22. Mark Mitchell had 20 and some key bench contributions. Trent Pierce with 18. He was 5 of 7 from the three-point line. And T.O. Barrett with a career-high 13 points. As Mizzou's Tigers defeated Auburn's Tigers 84-74 to get to 3-1 in SEC play. That's in a 5-way tie for first place across the standings right now. So Mizzou, after a non-con slate that didn't really get you excited with any type of signature wins, well, Tigers have a few of them now. 3-1 in SEC play. Next one up at LSU this Saturday at 2:30, and that is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 15th day of January 2025. You can call or text us here at 573-875-KTGR to weigh in on how you saw Mizzou get it done last night against Auburn. And it was looking a little bit dicey in the stage of the game between the 10-minute mark of the second half and about the 2-minute mark, where Mizzou led by as many as 13 in that half. That was their largest lead. They had that with 4:16 left to go. And then Auburn cuts it down to 4 with something like 2 minutes left, or inside of the 2-minute mark. It was a 4-point game. But look, at no point was it one possession. Mizzou at least made sure that its defense was tough enough to not allow Auburn a chance to have the basketball in their hand and a chance to tie the game. So with that, Mizzou's defense did its job, and looks like in SEC play, Mizzou's defense is looking like one of the better units in the league. Second in defensive efficiency, according to Ken Pom, in conference-only games. No, we're only 4 games in. It's a small sample size, but it's also a little bit underneath 25% of the season. So that's impressive and not something that I expected from this particular Mizzou group. Starting to show me things that we didn't necessarily predict when non-conference play started. You thought they would have to once again maybe outscore by getting to 75, 80 points every night, and then that usually would be enough. But here, I mean, first of all, Mizzou did shoot very well. 56% from the field will get you the win almost every time. Almost. I should qualify on that. 9 of 19 from 3 is also not too bad. And that was a lot of Trent Pierce, man. 5 of 7 coming off the bench and playing 28 minutes. You know, you wonder, do you maybe just put him back in the starting lineup? He was starting last year in some of these roles. It's kind of a more of a philosophical question, though, of like, okay, how do you want your starting lineup to be made up as? Do you want a true 5 like Sean Phillips in there? Or do you put Trent Pierce in and just say, you know what, we're the smaller team. We're just going to go with a bunch of lanky guards like Pierce and Cruz. And then that kind of makes up for the fact that we don't have a true 5 and Mitchell is our 5. I don't know. I will say 4 games into SEC play, this has been the starting lineup and it's worked out so far. I don't think it's all that bad of a deal at the moment to have Trent Pierce coming off the bench. In fact, I would have been okay if it was Jaden Stone coming off the bench in those spots like he was before the injury, but still producing very well. But even then, don't want to mess with him being in the starting lineup because last night it seemed that he was the guy that when Mizzou needed to settle down a little bit and just get into an offensive set or needed a play to bring the crowd back into it, Jaden Stone was ready to make it. And the game was over, in my estimation at least, once he got that and one bucket off of a great pass from T.O. Barrett going one end of the court to the other through the air, throwing it on a rope to Stone. And then Jaden Stone just being patient, allowing the contact to come to him, and he puts it up and in with the foul. So I think the collective nature of what Mizzou has been able to do defensively made sure that that game was at arm's length when they started to have a bit of a lull towards the end of the second half. Now, look, you can have concerns that lull happened, no doubt about it. When a team starts to high press on you in the backcourt, I think ball handlers like T.O. Barrett and Anthony Robinson were not all the way ready to take that on at that moment. So it's a lesson learned, and you'd much rather learn those lessons when you win games instead of losing them. That, hey, when a team starts to throw the kitchen sink at you, you need to just let them make the overcorrection themselves and not try to speed up the way that they're trying to make you do it. That's maybe the lesson learned from the 4 to 5 minute stretch where Mizzou kind of let up off the gas a little bit, but then finished strong in the last 2 minutes with some good defensive possessions. Free throw shooting, I mean, it was fine last night. It is what it is, guys. Like, if they shoot 68%, I know it's not going to be good enough probably against some other teams, but that's kind of what they are. I mean, they're just under 67% for the season. So 68's not far off from what you're maybe expecting this team to do right now. I know you expect more. I know free throws are exactly how they're described in the name. They're free, as we've talked about here on the show. And so we just think that those are the easy ones. Get them. Take them. Almost like field goals or chip shot field. Take the points. Well, I mean, it's not as straightforward as that describes it, but B, like, this is what the team is free throw shooting wise. So you have to find other ways to make up that production. And look, Mizzou did it with defense last night. I was impressed by the fact that they held Auburn to 41% from the floor when not even a week ago, Auburn's putting up 90 plus on Arkansas at their place. By the way, did you see the reaction from John Calipari after his game last night? He was kind of I'm sure was chirping on Auburn and trying to pump them up because they just lost to them by 22. Said, oh yeah, they're a good team. Did they win tonight? And the report said, no, they lost to Mizzou. And then Calipari's reaction is priceless. We've retweeted it at KTGR Big Show on Twitter. He's quivering his lip like almost trying to create the outrage that he has of the team that just trounced his team by 22, just lost the very next night to Missouri. What? Well, I think that's kind of who Missouri is right now. Yes, there is a game at Ole Miss that left you maybe a little bit disappointed. I understand that. But this full strength, not quite full strength yet, but much larger strength than they were before, Mizzou basketball team clearly has a formula that is translating game after game and venue after venue. 3-1 in the SEC is not easy to come by. And right now, that's the best record that any SEC team has right now in conference. After Vanderbilt's loss last night, I think this is just the type of conference you've got this year. LSU is 0-4 in conference so far. That's Mizzou's next opponent. But Mizzou's not favored to win that game. No. Because LSU has run into some stiff competition themselves. And so they'll see it as an opportunity at home to finally get on the board before they go to Florida and Arkansas the very next week. They'll say, hey, we're ahead of this team in Ken Palm and we're hosting them. This is a chance. So that's what we're talking about with the margins in this league. The fact that Mizzou has bagged 3 wins out of 4 already is going to give them a solid push to at least finishing top half in this league. And maybe even you can talk about the top 4 with the double bye territory. We'll see. But finishing top half here probably means that you're 10-8. Mizzou needs to go 500 the rest of the way to finish 10-8 in conference. I think that will get you in. Maybe a win in Nashville gives you a more of a solid chance to claim your at-large spot, but you're clearly in the conversation, barring a major setback. So that's kind of the changed thinking, because 2 weeks ago, were we thinking about that? A little more than 2 weeks, I guess, to be absolutely clear. Because, but honestly, like on January 1st, the most recent data we had of Mizzou was them getting trounced by 43 points to Illinois. They, I think, have climbed out of that completely and gotten back to the spot where they were before that drubbing. So now that you have an idea of the type of team Mizzou is at the moment, and you project out as to how that should look against the rest of this conference, you can absolutely see a path to double-digit SEC wins, maybe a little bit beyond 10. But the problem is that you've got a bunch of other SEC teams that are in that exact same boat. I would still, even though Mizzou's at the top of this conference right now, as in record-wise, they're tied for first, but there are 4 other teams that they're tied with. I'd still probably consider them middle-of-the-pack type of SEC team at the moment. And that middle is huge. And there is not a lot that separates all 10 of those schools, essentially, that are fighting for those spots. So you're going to have a ton of coin flips going forward. And like, look, Mizzou's gotten A game that I think was a coin flip last night, and Mizzou got it in their favor. I think Ole Miss was a coin flip this past weekend. That didn't go in their way. And then 2 games before that you were unlikely to get, but you were able to outperform the projections by a pretty good bit. And so if you're able to find ways to clean up your home schedule, first and foremost, well, if you win all of your home games right now, rest of the way, that means a win against Vanderbilt. That means a win against Tennessee. That means a win against Arkansas. And we haven't even talked about the opportunities that Mizzou could have on the road. There are some tough teams that they have to go and face. Alabama will be on there. Arkansas will be on there. But they go to Mississippi State. They go to Oklahoma. They go to South Carolina. If you add maybe 2 or maybe all of those wins to the ledger, you're talking about having an SEC record that Mizzou has never had before. Since they joined the SEC, they've never been better than 11-7. That's their high watermark so far. And yeah, 3 years ago when Dennis Gates brought that team to a double bye in the SEC tournament, 11-7 was enough that year. Now, I don't think it's going to be enough this year, but that's clearly within Mizzou's grasp. 12 wins. I mean, again, it probably means cleaning up the home schedule, or maybe you lose one of them. Vanderbilt, maybe the most likely one the rest of the way. But South Carolina on the road, absolutely gettable. You almost expect to win that one. I wouldn't have expected them to win the Ole Miss game last week, but if they keep playing the way that they have done, I would absolutely expect them to go to South Carolina and win, because South Carolina, right now at least, is the bottom SEC team, according to KenPom. Now, it doesn't mean they're a bad team, but relatively speaking to the rest of the conference, that's your opportunity to get a win. But you also go to Mississippi State, and Oklahoma is also later in the year that you can go and get as well. So lots of chances to rack up some wins on the road once those come. And maybe even they do it against LSU. Maybe we're a little bit wrong on LSU at the moment based on how they've looked. But, like, they beat SMU in a neutral site game. That's a strong KenPom team at number 36, and so they have a good non-con win. Not much else when it comes to their other non-cons, but that's a better non-con than what Mizzou's got. Mizzou still needs to kind of outperform what their expectations are in that game when they go to Baton Rouge this weekend. So we'll see how that looks, but I think you fully expect now that Mizzou can compete to be in the top half of this conference. And if you're in the top half of this conference, I think you're an NCAA tournament team. Dennis Gates has said the 10 teams from this league should make it. I would say that if you're in the top half, committee won't pass you up. SEC is not what it was last year, but it's still a conference where if you're winning more games than you're losing in it, that matters. That's meaningful to the committee members when they put together their at-large list. So to me, I'm basically just counting the wins at the moment. Not even necessarily worried too much about quad 1 versus quad 2 or whatever it might be. Everything the rest of the way is going to be quad 1 and 2. Not everything will be quad 1, but those 2 quadrants kind of get combined together a lot when you compare resumes across conferences and things of that nature. So the record itself, I think, is going to be the main driver of Mizzou's case to get in. But I think you still need 10 to get that. That can outweigh what you did in non-con, which was not much. 10 wins can, I think, firmly on the bubble. I think it puts you on the right side of the bubble, but maybe a win in Nashville will solidify it. To me, last night's team is closer to what they will be baseline rise the rest of the way. games at Mississippi, at Ole Miss can happen. They can go 50% from the free throw line. And look, if they do it again, they're losing that game. Against every opponent that they have coming up, they will lose again if they go 50% from the free throw line. They did not last night. And so couple that with the fact that they almost hit half their threes. And Mark Mitchell, I think that was really most impressive from what I saw last night. Auburn just crashed on Mark Mitchell early in the game. They're saying, like, this guy's not beating us. Find somebody else. But Mitchell adjusted to that well, and I think Mizzou should be lucky that he is as good of a passer as he is, because he's got to touch the basketball and make the defense have that type of reaction, bring all those guys inside to allow the open looks to happen for guys on the outside. And sure enough, Mitchell led the team in assists last night with 5. And then eventually got his points later in the game when Auburn said, okay, maybe that plan isn't working as much as we thought. Let's maybe don't devote as many resources to Mitchell. And sure enough, Mark Mitchell goes down low, goes 7 of 12 inside the arc, gets to 20 points. Last night was not a good free throw shooting night for Mark Mitchell. I'm sure he knows that. If you go to the line 14 times, get at least 9 of them. Can't get 6. Got to get closer to 70% where your season average is. So, again, we'll see how Mizzou is able to adjust to that. But in my mind, that's the Mizzou team that is closer to what we're going to see throughout the rest of the schedule. Could be wrong. Health can obviously throw wrenches into that, but we've seen now that when you get guys full strength, that it does make a difference to Mizzou's rotation and their full identity, and I think they're starting to show it. And I think Mizzou fans can be excited about it. So tell us that you're excited, what you're excited about. 573-875-KTGR. James says SEC is wide open. Every team has flaws. Protect home court and steal some wins on the road. Yeah, I mean, again, cleaning up the home games would get you where you need to be, but you probably can't even expect that because, look, Vanderbilt's still tough. They'll probably still win that game, but you have opportunities on the road to make up for that. Lots to get to when it comes to Mizzou basketball. We want your thoughts on it. 573-875-KTGR. We're going to get the thoughts of Drew King of PowerMizzou.com as well. His take on how Mizzou's Tigers looked last night against Auburn and what it means for the rest of this SEC schedule in what's still a loaded conference, but everyone seems to be a little bit closer together now that things have really gotten started. We'll talk with Drew King next year on The Big Show, KTGR.
Miss the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now, wherever you get your apps.
Hey, Columbia, this is Coach Agnew from API. I've got a New Year's deal for you don't want to miss. If you've been thinking about getting in shape, now's the perfect time to jump in. Sign up at API before the end of January and get your first 31 days for just $31. That's right, 31 days, $31. With expert coaching, a supportive community, and all the tools you'll need to crush your fitness goals. There's never been a better time to join the API family. So come on in and let's make this year your strongest year yet. Sign up now at APIProjectFitness.com.
If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Full tire service for trucks and autos, shocks, brakes, oil, lube, filter, wheel alignment. Our service is friendly and personal. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Ooh, see Lee's.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great.
Hypnosis only $59.99. Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m.
Another winter inside, looking at the snow in your yard that you can't Write your name in. Because you didn't order your new deck from Crutch's Custom Exteriors in time, don't look ahead to spring cleaning. You're ready for spring peeing and April showers with Freedom Stream powers off your new Crutch's deck. They can build your pee platform in the winter so it's ready for you to splash your autograph in any springtime snow that's left. CrutchesCustomExteriors.com. True beauty is on the outside.
Paradise doesn't have to be far away. Sometimes it's a quiet walk through a state park. Sometimes it's your favorite takeout and a night in. At Shangri-La, we believe that cannabis belongs in those everyday moments, not as an escape, but as part of living well. That's why we offer 20% off select category every day, plus 20% off store-wide every Sunday. Thoughtful products, honest guidance, real value. Shangri-La, discover paradise. Learn more at ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
Hey, y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. Everybody I know is happy to say goodbye to 2025. So we're hoping for a fix in 26. And we hope you'll come see us at Billiards. That may sound cheesy to some of y'all, but who cares? At Billiards, we love cheese. We love bacon, too. And cheese and bacon make everything better. We believe that to be true.
Look on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
We survived 25.
I'm Tyler, and I've been a marketing consultant with Zimmer Communications. I joined Zimmer because my background was in helping local businesses grow in their marketing. It's cool working here because I get to work with people that I can actually call my friends, and it's a really encouraging environment. I think the energy is good because we enjoy working together. Everybody on the team brings something unique to the table so that we're building on each other's strengths. It's a great place to be because they give you all the tools you need to be successful.
If you're up for the challenge, apply now at ZimmerCommunications.com.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
Mizzou Hoops gets it done last night against Auburn, gets to 3-1 in SEC play. That's tied for first right now in the SEC standings. Not too bad. 4 games in, still a ways to go, but Mizzou is getting what they need at the moment to compete for some top standing spots in the SEC. We'll see if that continues on as they face LSU this weekend. Let's bring on Drew King of PowerMizzou.com as he joins us to talk some Mizzou basketball. You can see his great Mizzou basketball content over at Power Mizzou. Drew, last night, I mean, coin flip game, obviously, both teams kind of coming in with similar type of chops at the moment from what we can do about them now. But, I mean, with the way Mizzou held their resolve, at least enough to get the win towards the end, what did it kind of show you after the first few results that, again, we've seen some better returns from this team since non-con play?
Yeah, I think like at this point, there's nothing that this team can do the rest of the season that's gonna surprise me, right? Like they could go on and kind of flame out, right? Kind of fall off and finish under 500 in SEC play. I don't think that would be shocking by any means, but they could also like wind up and be one of the top 4 teams in the conference and get a double bye in the conference tournament. Like that wouldn't be surprising to me either. Like they've shown that they can beat a blue blood team on the road in Kentucky, and they beat 2 Final Four teams last year in Auburn and Florida, right? But then they also go and lose at Ole Miss, and they lose really bad in the bragging rights game in the border war. So I think just about anything is on the table for this team right now, and last night's game kind of showed that.
Certainly so. It also kind of showed that, look, they were right on Jaden Stone and Trent Pierce making huge differences when they were out. And obviously we saw that in earlier games too, but just the way that it was showcased with Stone's ability to make a play when Mizzou needed it, the 3-point shooting from Trent Pierce. I'm just curious how you've seen their games really complement what Mizzou was trying to do earlier, but just couldn't quite get to when they were facing Kansas and Illinois in the league.
Yeah, well, for one, I think like just the sheer spacing that they both bring. Trent Pierce has obviously taken a big step forward as a shooter this year. Like the percentage has been night and day from last year. And Jaden Stone like picked up where he left off those first 6 games of the season. It didn't take him any time at all to shake off the rust. And so with those 2 guys on the perimeter, Teams have to be a lot more wary about sending help when the ball goes inside, with either Ant Robinson driving in or Mark Mitchell getting the ball in the post, or even Sean Phillips getting the ball in the post. So I think it kind of balances out Mizzou's floor spacing even more, and gives them some extra options along with like a Jacob Cruz to stretch the defense out and make things a lot easier on the offensive end.
Drew King at PowerMizzou.com here on the Big Show KTGR and the KTGR app. It's obviously worked 4 games in, the lineup that Mizzou has started with. But, I mean, is it a better spot for Trent Pierce, you think, to come off the bench? Or is there a starting spot maybe that they think about? Is that how do you kind of look at how they've maybe ordered guys at the moment? I mean, again, it's working, but as the schedule goes along, how do you think it evolves?
So one thing that I think is really interesting is, and maybe is going overlooked, I know that Sean Phillips might not be like the most aesthetically pleasing player to watch out there, but he's getting the job done for Mizzou right now. The team obviously like isn't generating as many steals as it has in seasons past, but they've made up for it in the possession gap by improving on the defensive glass. And I think Sean Phillips has been a big part of that. He hasn't been a guy who has been swallowing up rebounds, but he's been doing a good job of holding off the other team's bigs and allowing the guards to go in and grab the loose balls. And then on top of that, Mizzou's number 2 in the SEC right now in 2-point defense. And I think Sean Phillips has a lot to do with that. He's been really good at protecting the paint when he's out there. And then he's also just like had a couple of big buckets in some of these games. And so, again, I'm not saying that Sean Phillips is this all SEC big, but I think that he's a quality guy in the rotation. And I think having him out there to start the games and kind of set the tone defensively is really smart. So like you said, I'm not sure I would really change much up right now. I think Trent Pierce is doing a good job of coming off the bench. And when they need to and need like an offensive punch, they can go to those small ball lineups. But yeah, I think Sean Phillips is doing fine in the starting lineup at the moment.
Drew King of PowerMizzou.com here on the Big Show KTGR. Did T.O. Barrett show a little something extra than from what we had maybe seen from him first few games? I know there were maybe some iffy moments in the second half with ball security, stuff like that. But I mean, offensively, is this what maybe they were hoping he would turn into?
Yeah, I think so. And it's really interesting. You brought up, like, obviously Trent Pierce and Jaden Stone coming back and making the impact they have. But I thought this is what I wrote about last night was like Auburn had Keyshawn Hall, who was like one of the biggest transfer names out of the portal this past offseason. And Mizzou beat that team with 2 guys that they retained in the offseason, right? It was Trent Pierce and T.O. Barrett off the bench scoring 31 points. And so T.O., he's got to be more consistent, but if he can produce games like that where he's really effective driving to the rim, really effective on the defensive end, he's always been a really good passer. Like that gives Mizzou the depth that they need to win games like that. When Ant Robinson has an off night, they can go to a T.O. Barrett. When Sebastian Mack or an Honor Boateng aren't playing up to the standard that Dennis Gates wants, to have that extra guard who can still contribute is huge for them. So yeah, I think that T.O. Barrett, like that's what they were wanting from him all along, was that kind of play.
Yeah, and certainly something that's encouraging for Mizzou going forward as we look at the rest of the schedule. We've gone, I think, almost 7-8 minutes talking Mizzou basketball without talking about free throw shooting. Wow, it must things must be going pretty well. It was a little bit better than last game out, but low bar to clear 50%. Is this what they are? Is it kind of just how you view the team going forward, that they're going to have to overcome maybe 60-ish% nights at the free throw line, or is there any way they could just at least get a little more margin for themselves there?
Yeah, I mean, like they're going to keep working on them. I don't know that I would devote like a whole lot more time to it. I don't know that you can get a whole lot better than where they're at right now. You're just going to kind of have to accept that games like Ole Miss are going to happen where like free throws are going to cost you on any given night. And so I remember back when I was covering Texas State, somebody asked about a poor free throw shooting night, and the coach was like, guys, I'm just going to tell you, don't ask me about free throws. We work on them. Like, that's all I can really tell you. So coaches can't shoot the free throws for the players. I think the main emphasis is just like, you got to figure out how to overcome any misses that you have. They did it last night. Didn't do it against Ole Miss, but I think that's going to be a theme throughout the rest of the year. It's just like, how often is that an issue?
Yeah, and maybe and look, it is largely across the board, but it seems that a lot of nights it maybe lives or dies on how Mark Mitchell does in that area. I mean, last night was kind of a down night for it, but that seems to be the guy that teams will target to say, like, look, can't get the easy one, send him to the line, at least you get a shot. I mean, it seems that that's the case, but it's also just the adding up type of nature to it, where a guy will go 2 of 3 or 1 of 3 or whatever it is, and I wonder how it improves going forward. But again, as you mentioned, it probably is what it is.
Well, and like we've seen Aaron Robinson be a better free throw shooter than what he's shown this season. I think this is like Jaden Stone's career low at the free throw line. So I think those two guys in particular can get a little bit better. But as far as like the team as a whole, I'm just not sure that it's going to get a whole lot better.
Drew King at PowerMizzou.com here on the Big Show KTGR. With this game coming up against LSU, it's kind of crazy to think about. LSU is ahead of Mizzou and KenPom right now, but LSU doesn't have a conference win yet. It's just maybe more of a referendum on what the league is. But with LSU's Tigers at home and a chance that they maybe see as like, look, we got to get on the board at some point. Is that what Mizzou kind of has to watch out for? And how do you kind of see the matchup playing out in either team's favor?
Yeah, I think like the pressure's on LSU, especially because the AD came out and basically said, like, we got to make the NCAA tournament, or we might be evaluating like what our options are at head coach here. So I think LSU's coming into this thinking this is a must-win game for us. And there are no easy road games in the SEC, as we know. The main thing that's changed for LSU, though, is they're pretty banged up. Jalen Reed has been out for a couple of games. Dean Thomas Jr. has been out for a couple of games. Those are 2 starters for them that have been playing pretty well. And without them, they just haven't been the same team. So I'm not 100% sure if those guys are going to be back for Saturday's game. But if not, it's a game that Missouri probably should win. And so I think Mizzou has to go in there, take care of business, especially because, like, with Mizzou's non-conference schedule, they're a little bit behind the 8 ball in terms of trying to get into the NCAA tournament. So you can't drop too many of these types of easier wins in league play.
Gosh, that LSU athletic director, those comments pretty eye-opening. Hopefully the governor's not getting involved like maybe the other sport. But no, that's certainly some pressure on LSU. But I mean, again, as we look now at what Mizzou has done so far in conference play and what the conference is as a whole, is it just about counting wins and losses, and maybe it's not as important where the wins and losses come from? It's just this is what the league is. If you are winning more games than not in this league, you're going to get the treatment from the committee that you want. And how does Mizzou, as you mentioned, like non-con, no real feathers in the cap, is 10 wins in SEC play enough, do you think?
Yeah, so I was actually trying to do the math for my column that's coming out tomorrow. But pretty much every win, or every game, I should say, except for the home game against Mississippi State right now, would count for a quad 1 or a quad 2 win. And to be considered for the bubble, you have to get to basically 9 quad 1 and 2 wins. And right now, Mizzou's at 3. So you need about 6 more of those in SEC play. You probably need 10 to feel good about your chances going into the SEC tournament. But yeah, like I think that because of the way the league is and how competitive it is, like you're going to get those opportunities. It's just a matter of counting up and getting to the exact number that you need. And so, again, like a road game like this, it's going to count as a quad 1 game because of just by it being on the road and LSU taking care of business in the non-conference schedule. So, and again, if like guys are out for them, it's going to be one of your easier opportunities to pick up one of those quad 1 wins. So it's an important one for Mizzou for sure.
Sure. And we'll see if Mizzou can take advantage of that. Who's the best team in this conference right now? And how hard of a question right now is that to answer at the moment?
Well, it got a lot tougher after Vanderbilt lost to Texas last night. I picked Arkansas during the preseason to win it all. I was a big fan of Darius Acuff. I really liked the supporting cast. Obviously, John Calipari is a really good coach. So I'm going to stick with my pick for them to win it all. But I think that Vanderbilt very well could bounce back and go on a run. Florida's looked really, really good since their loss to Mizzou. I wouldn't be surprised if they could go on a run. But yeah, I think those would be kind of my top 3 teams right now.
It could change week by week, obviously.
Exactly.
And so it's very telling how Mizzou, if they're near the top of it, then that's obviously good news with how things have started so far. Drew King at PowerMizzou.com here on The Big Show. What can folks check out from you at Power Mizzou right now, Drew?
Yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to have my column out talking about Trent Pierce's improvement and also kind of like what we just talked about, what it takes for Mizzou to get into the NCAA tournament. I'm going to be in Baton Rouge for the LSU game, going to be on location, giving y'all coverage there. And then, yeah, I'll just be keeping it going through the rest of the season. We're running a 50% off sale for an annual subscription right now. So y'all go sign up and read our stuff.
It is all great stuff. Basketball, football, and the like over at PowerMizzou.com. And great to have Drew King share his insights here on The Big Show, KTGR. Drew, thanks for coming on. Safe travels over to Baton Rouge, and we'll talk soon, my friend.
Sounds good. Thanks, Andy.
You bet. Big Show is on at 442 KTGR and the KTGR app. Yeah, I mean, look, it's probably, I mean, those teams right now are facing off this weekend, I think. Vanderbilt gets Florida, right? So it could be between those two at the present moment of who the best team is. But again, could change within a couple of weeks as to who we feel about it. Arkansas could rise up or Tennessee could do the same thing. Alabama. I mean, possibilities are endless. I don't know if Mizzou really by record, they could do so, but still got to get some things masked away from how the non-con went. As you build up more cachet in the SEC, you can get closer to that. But again, we'll see. It has to be taken a few games at a time for the Tigers to keep inching up in those SEC standings. You can give us a call or a text at 573-875-KTGR. We're going to have picks of the week coming up at 5:45. We're going to have the full slate of SEC games available to choose from. We're doing picks of the week today instead of Friday because tomorrow we'll be live from the Cardinals Caravan and in Jefferson City at the Missouri Farm Bureau Center. The event there starts at 6:00. It's totally free. So if you want to be there for the program, it'll be a great time. Be there at 6:00, but we'll be telling you all about it from 4 until 6. And we'll hear from, we expect, several Cardinals players during the 5:00 hour. So picks of the week we moved to today to allow for that. But we're excited to be able to go out to the Missouri Farm Bureau Center tomorrow in Jefferson City to do the Big Show live from there and get you set for Cardinals Caravan. You can get all the details at ktgr.com. If you missed any of it yesterday, you can hear our conversation with the voice of the Cardinals, John Rudy, on our KTGR app if you missed that. All right, Under the Bus is coming up next. We've talked a lot of college hoops from what's happening on the courts. There seem to be some things both on and off the courts that college basketball has to get cleaned up. Major scandal kind of revealed today, and it involves a SLU basketball player, a former SLU player. We'll get to all of that next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Mizzou men's basketball defeated Auburn last night, 84-74. Behind 22 points from Jaden Stone, 20 points from Mark Mitchell. Also key bench contributions. Trent Pierce with 18 points on 5 of 7 from the three-point line. And T.O. Barrett with a career-high 13 points. Mizzou with the victory is in a 5-way tie for first atop the SEC standings at 3-1 overall. In the SEC, they're 13-4 on the season. Next game is at LSU at 2:30 on Saturday. Mizzou women's basketball still trying to get on the board in SEC play. They have faced 4 top 25 opponents in a row and are 0-4 in conference, but finally are hosting an unranked opponent tonight. Arkansas comes to town for a 6:30 tip-off at Mizzou Arena. Coverage begins right here on KTGR at 6:15. And Mizzou Wrestling will be in Big 12 play tonight on the road as they take on Arizona State in Tempe, Arizona. Action gets started tonight at 7:30. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew. When your world seems to have been wrecked, call the team you hope you never have to meet, I-70 Towing.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking increasing clouds tonight, a chance for a few flurries. Temperatures drop down into the upper 20s, and tomorrow we'll see mostly cloudy skies, some snow showers by late afternoon, giving us a dusting on the grass by Friday evening. We'll be left with colder temperatures for the weekend, with temperatures in the teens on Saturday morning, wind chills in the single digits. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Midway Electric presents the high school sports power play of the week.
Here's Price dribbling left side, got past Higgins, but then blocked at the rim by Jada Porter. Picks up the loose change, gives up before to Higgins. Now back to Porter, drives inside. Porter, floater up and in! Jada Porter, great body control herself in the fast break. 15-point lead for Rockbridge.
That's the power play of the week with Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Caesars Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesars rewards. Bet on gridiron action and earn perks on every game like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code radio250BM and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250, whether you win or lose. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Missouri. Open to new users only. Minimum odds -500. Awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You don't just sell. You connect. You listen, learn, and deliver. You build relationships that turn clients into partners. At Fuse 32, our people don't push products. They craft solutions. They anticipate problems before they even happen, and they fix them before anyone notices. If results and relationships, not excuses, drive you, then it's about time to join the team that never settles. Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Apply now at Fuse32.com.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
Hi, I'm David Bale, Exterior Project Specialist for True Sun Exteriors and Interiors. Unlike a lot of our competition, we have a 5-year labor warranty, which ensures that even after 1 or 2 seasons, if an issue rears its ugly head, we're going to stand behind it. Any new installation we do, which is going to be roofing, siding, decks, windows, doors, all that kind of stuff has a full 5-year labor warranty. So we're going to stand behind all of our workmanship for 5 years after the installation is complete. Let's just say hypothetically we get a storm or something and maybe something comes loose or there's some caulking that gets out of whack. We do a roof and a leak shows up a year later. Sometimes you get a weird storm. You just never know what's going to happen. Anything like that, we're going to stand behind and we're going to take care of it.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
It's hard to believe basketball season is already here. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill reminds you that whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you just want to plop down with some friends and watch some hoops on TV, they've got a spot for you. 1851 Underground has drink specials and discount happytizers for happy hour. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's not a secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Hi, we're Midway Electric. When winter hits, electrical issues can turn serious fast, at home or at your business. That's why you need a trusted local team that shows up, solves the problem, and stands behind the work. From whole home generators and security systems to everyday service and repairs, Midway Electric has you covered. And now through January, get $500 off a whole home generator installation to keep you powered up no matter the weather. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
It's time to go under the bus on The Big Show.
Yeah, bombshell today in college basketball. A pretty widespread point-shaving scheme revealed according to a federal indictment that was unsealed today in Pennsylvania. 20 of the 26 defendants played college basketball during the 2023-24 and or 24-25 seasons, and 4 of them played for their current teams within the last week. Point shaving, just most of it is kind of around first half point spreads. So some bad actors that get in contact with these kids and say, hey, you can take it easy for your first half, but then you can come back in the second half. And we all, so this is involving a bunch of different schools, including SLU. There was a game that was flagged between SLU and Duquesne, I believe, or Duchesne, I should say, and a certain player was named in the indictment. They also named the name of the bettor who was getting the info and dispersing it out to everybody else involved in the scheme. And then there was a person 3, and everyone's trying to sleuth through the box score of that game in the first half to say, who had a bad first half and may have been attached to this as well. That's how close to home it's hitting at the moment. It's happening over at SLU within the last couple of years or so. Look, this is kind of the world that we're living in at the moment. This is kind of a byproduct, again, of how sports betting has become a lot more widespread and legal in a bunch of different places. Obviously legal here now. It does put mechanisms in place to immediately identify these situations that are suspicious and punish the people that are involved in it. I don't know if we have all the way figured out the way to prevent things like this. Because look, it happened before legal sports betting too. It was basically all under the table and had to be dug out a little more judiciously. But now is the time now that we have these systems in place and that it is so easy to do nowadays to bet on sports in so many different ways, now you have to think about the solution of preventing situations like this. And that's hard. I don't have the solution. That's a hard one to find. But have to make sure that, especially at the college level, that we're not targeting these types of kids that are just, especially at these lower schools, they're not earning all kinds of NIL money or things like that. And that's why they're being targeted by these bad actors. It's not happening at the big schools because most of those players are fine money-wise playing college basketball because they're at the big schools. But just have to continue to find ways to prevent these types of situations. I'm sure it's not going to be the last one. There will probably be more. Let's try to work towards protecting these sports as much as possible now that sports betting is as widespread. And look, one of the ways the NCAA is trying to do that is just get rid of the prop bets, get rid of player props. And yeah, maybe that could help. If it doesn't solve the entire issue, the first half spreads and totals are still going to be there. But for now, it's a huge mess that college basketball has to deal with. A little bit created by the environment, no doubt. But we'll see if you can also use the environment in your favor to flip it on these people that are trying to just do no good and affect these kids in a negative way. So
Under the bus.
Under the bus. Also under the bus to, John Calipari's reaction to Auburn losing to Mizzou from last night. It's on our KTGR Big Show Twitter page. We can't do it justice here on the radio. I can't even do it justice on YouTube right here that you're looking at my face. But John Calipari's reaction is priceless. And then he ends the press conference there and says, I better go before I say something. It was great. So good from all that.
Under the bus.
And I want to submit one from Samuel on our YouTube channel. Also, we can all agree that Stephen Pearl is a sore loser, just like his dad when he called that timeout with less than 10 seconds. Like, I agree. Like, what are we doing? Like, come on. I get it. May have been irked by Jaden Stone going down the floor with the shot clock off and finishing it off with a dunk. And then your guy goes and gets a layup right afterwards. And then you call timeout as if you've got a chance to come back within 10 seconds in a 4-possession game. Like, come on, buddy. I don't know if I've liked the early returns so far on Stephen Pearl, but that's just me.
Under the bus.
I am open to other opinions, but I think I don't know if that is going to work out.
It's time for the sweetest thing in sports on The Big Show.
This has happened, I think, the last few years or so as well, because Dennis Gates' birthday is during the season and during conference season. At that, his birthday was yesterday. And how about the birthday present of your team giving you a victory against Auburn? That's pretty sweet. Happy birthday to Dennis Gates. And look, we'll go back and forth every win and loss. Dennis Gates is the right man, or Dennis Gates is completely wrong. It'll just go back and forth with every game that Mizzou wins and every game that they lose. And they're going on the road this weekend against LSU. And yeah, LSU's missing some guys, so Mizzou should go down there and win. KenPom thinks differently, but if they lose that game, then we'll probably be right back to, you can never lead them. Look, so far during conference play, it's been a net positive for Mizzou. And I think Dennis Gates, with the way that he has positioned his team to be flexible with each matchup, and even in game, has been pretty impressive. So happy birthday, Dennis Gates. And hey, you got to win last night too to put the cherry on top. Not too bad. All right, we'll talk some Chiefs next. There's a possibility that Eric Bieniemy could be back as the offensive coordinator. Would you be okay with that? We'll also talk about John Harbaugh getting that New York Giants job, most likely. I think it's still being finalized, but that seems to be the case. And which game will most likely feature an upset this weekend in the NFL divisional round? 525. We'll talk about that on The Big Show.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife, Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds, and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day, and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy, enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99. Seminars Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn, Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
This is the year she gets an upgraded diamond, the year that dad finally gets his retirement watch, and the year that your daughter graduates, so you give her the necklace she's always dreamed of. Family Pawn is not your traditional pawn shop, but they are your secret to saving big on stunning jewelry for every occasion. Family Pawn, where you'll find timeless treasures for a fraction of the cost. FamilyPawn.com.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
You're a merchant of all things that are man. Firearms, fishing, cars, food, sports. Yeah, the kind of stuff every man always needs more of. So show it off at the Mecca of Man, the 2026 Como Man Show, Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Event Center where the Boone County Fair is held. It's the best and most fun way to show every man they need what you got. Seriously, by showing them. Bring your best stuff, show it off, and have a blast. For more info on being a vendor at the Man Show, go to ComoManShow.com.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold added to the injury report today, listed as questionable for the NFC divisional round playoff game versus the 49ers Saturday night because of an oblique injury. Darnold did say, though, he expects to play. San Francisco receiver Ricky Pearsall, knee injury questionable. Linebacker Fred Warner is out. Knicks hoping to snap out of their funk when they visit the Warriors tonight, 9:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. New York's lost 6 of 8, has allowed 110 points or more in its last 17 games. ESPN NBA insider Brian Windhorst.
Their defense obviously is struggling right now, but I'm more worried about their offense. The Knicks are designed to be an elite offensive team. They were the number 3 offense in the league from the start of the year through Christmas. The reason they haven't been able to sustain a bad defensive stretch here is their offense has collapsed. 112 points last night, that's not ideal, but you should survive that if you're an elite offense like the Knicks.
Knicks guard Jalen Brunson's sprained ankle is out tonight. Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga's demanded a trade, hasn't played the last 13 games. Golden State's prioritizing expiring contracts in return for him. Mavs rookie Cooper Flagg doubtful versus the Jazz tonight with a sprained ankle.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options. Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
From Faro.
15 to the 10 to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall. And it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown. Kansas City.
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Just Andy today. Producer Natalie is here, so that's nice. I've been completely solo last couple of days, but at least we'll have producer Natalie for Picks of the Week coming up very soon. 5:45, 875-KTGR if you want to join us here on The Big Show to also chime in. We're going to talk some Chiefs here in a little bit. This isn't necessarily reported out there. I don't even know if I've seen the Chiefs officially interview anyone for their offensive coordinator job at the moment, but could they be looking at Eric Bieniemy to come back? Could they, for the second straight time, bring back a former offensive coordinator to be their new offensive coordinator? We'll discuss that. There's a cryptic tweet that Tyreek Hill put out there. Seems that, again, he's just still trying to beg his way back onto the Chiefs. We'll get to that. We'll get to John Harbaugh, most likely being the New York Giants' next head coach. We'll talk about the games that we like as potential upsets, the NFL divisional round this weekend, and Picks of the Week, obviously, at 5:45. Call or text us at 875-KTGR. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Look, Mizzou closed it out, was looking a little iffy a few minutes towards the end of the second half, but Jaden Stone's and one bucket really put no doubt in the mind that Mizzou was going to be able to close out the win against Auburn. 84-74 the final score. Stone, a great night, 22 points. Mark Mitchell, 20 points and 5 assists, which was pretty impressive there. But Trent Pierce shooting the way that he is, if that's how he's going to do it, hey, Mizzou has maybe solved a little bit of their shooting issue that has plagued them in past games. Maybe not having enough from the outside to really be a threat. If Trent Pierce is doing that, 5 of 7 from three-point land, and Mizzou could have something. Tigers are right now in first place in the SEC. They're tied with 4 other teams, but it's a good place to be 4 games in. LSU, the next opponent on Saturday.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Man, this feels like a spot for Mizzou women's hoops, right? Finally, they're not facing a ranked team in conference play. Started out with 4 straight and went 0-4 in those games. But tonight they take on Arkansas at home. Chance for Kelly Harper to get on the board in conference play. We'll see if they can get it done. Tip-off is set for 6:30. Brad Trinago and Kathy Wiesig come your way at 6:15 for coverage from the Tiger Radio Network. So stay tuned right here on KTGR for that.
Number 3.
I do like the move for John Harbaugh to go to the Giants. Jackson Dart, a very intriguing quarterback from his first year. And I think this is kind of validation that he very well could be the real deal if a guy like John Harbaugh is choosing that situation when he has all of the choices he could really want as a head coach in this league. So that's a good validating thing, I think, for Jackson Dart. Some other solid pieces that you just got to get everything right. I'm a little surprised that Joe Shane is still around as the GM, but maybe that's also validation that John Harbaugh's cool with him being around too. So the first opening filled in the NFL, how will that affect the rest of the carousel?
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it. Huge college hoops betting scandal today. Not a great day in college hoops, to be honest. 20 or 40 players named in this indictment. It involves 20 different schools, including a former player from SLU, of point shaving and the like, and bad actors affecting these kids, affecting the outcomes of these bets. Yeah, just really slimy. Probably not the last one we're going to see, though.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
Tyreek Hill, you can try all you want, but I don't think the Chiefs are going to do it, buddy.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Give us a call or a text at 573-875-KTGR. Yeah, the tweet that he sent out was a reply to Ryan Fitzpatrick, who was kind of setting up of like, can I make a request here? As long as we're taking requests or something like that. And then Tyreek Hill says, as long as we're making requests, I want to come home, which a lot of people are taking home to mean Kansas City. Look, I mean, ship sailed a long time ago, if you ask me. I don't even necessarily. I think Tyreek Hill will be a strong wide receiver next year coming off the injury. I don't know if it's worth trying to acquire him in any means that is going to be required there, especially not for the Chiefs. I just, you have to turn the page on that chapter. Bar none. I mean, you already have kind of a similar situation. I mean, the Chiefs traded away Tyreek Hill purely as a football move, if you ask me, to acquire assets to rebuild their defense, and it worked. But it was also added to it. It was an added bonus that you're getting a headache off your team. Because he was a headache. Off the field, he was a headache. That was the added bonus to all of that. So, don't re-up that. Like, come on. Don't bring that back into the fold as much as, you know, maybe Patrick Mahomes would love throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill. I don't know. I don't know if it would work financially for the Chiefs to be able to do that, and I also think it's just not worth the squeeze when it comes to the impact that right now at his stage in his career, Tyreek Hill is giving you as a wide receiver. Which I guess leads into the Chiefs discussion of, well, who should be the offensive coordinator? Still technically Matt Nagy, and even though he's going to be out of contract soon and is interviewing for head coaching jobs, maybe he gets one. But even then, I think it would make sense for the Chiefs to get a new face in the room. Fresh perspective. Some different ideas. Some innovative ideas even. So where are you going to find those? Not with Eric Bieniemy, that's for sure. But is that a real possibility? Is that kind of what is maybe coming down the pipe here? Bieniemy right now, the running backs coach for the Bears. He's obviously occupied at the moment. They got a game this weekend. And look, done a solid job in that role. I'm sure he'll be an offensive coordinator again for somebody. It's just a matter of where and what level. He was at UCLA, obviously, under Deshaun Foster. And when that regime inevitably went poo-poo, well, then he had to go find another place to go. And so I don't know what that would be signaling to everyone who's following the Chiefs. Like, okay, we're going to use this opportunity to have an offensive coordinator that comes in and is going to bring in some new ways to unlock Patrick Mahomes, to unlock our pass catchers, to unlock our run game specifically. And it might be a little different than what you think going forward. Again, Chiefs haven't necessarily signaled to you one way or the other of where they're going, but it was interesting with Patrick Mahomes talking about today. He was having a Zoom with local reporters as he rehabs from his injury. And so he's talking about how that's going and everything like that, but also about what he would look for in an offensive coordinator if, in fact, they're going to make that change. And, well, he used the word accountability. And if we recall how the Eric Bieniemy tenure went as offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, we recall that there were some reported rifts between certain high-ranking people in that offense, between Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and the like, and how, like, was it true? Was it not? But ultimately, it ended with Eric Bieniemy going someplace else. He went to the Commanders' job. He went to be the offensive coordinator for the Commanders. So he obviously wanted that change of scenery. And the Chiefs had to move on and essentially elevate Matt Nagy again, because he was also in the room as the quarterback's coach. Are you trying to re-up that? Like, if all that was true, are you trying to bring that back all of a sudden? And again, to gain what? To gain a fresh perspective? New ideas? Because you're not getting that. No. Now, if you are trying to accomplish the goal of players on this offense not doing their job to their full potential, and you need somebody to push them, hey, maybe that's Bieniemy. I don't know. But we see what the issues are, and I'm not necessarily sure it's just guys slacking. It might be just strategy-wise, tactics, whatever you're game planning for each and every opponent and why it's getting figured out. That might be the issue. Obviously, a lot of the issue was health on the offensive line, but that's a different thing. Is Eric Bieniemy going to be that? I'm not so sure. And look, I'm not sure when this process will really ramp up for the Chiefs, because obviously we're going to hear about them interviewing candidates because they have to disclose that. And to my knowledge, they haven't disclosed anybody that they have interviewed at this point. So, I mean, there's still maybe a ways to go with how this could play out for the Chiefs and when exactly they're going to ramp up their search, if in fact they're even going through a search, which I think they should. But if Eric Bieniemy pops up on that radar, are you cool with that? I think they need to swing bigger. Get a little bit out of the comfort zone. That's kind of been what the problem has been. Because the comfort zone, albeit it worked for a while, the telekinesis that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce have, always being on the same wavelength, that brought the Chiefs a long way in past years. But it's not doing that anymore. So you got to turn to a different strategy. You got to turn to a different perspective. You got to have somebody else that has watched this team on film and is taking their own point of view on it and then bringing it to you and saying, here's where we can maximize our potential. It's got to be someone that hasn't been in the room yet, that you can acclimate into the environment, because, as you say, like, Chiefs have built up their environment as being one of the best in the NFL, and I don't think there's much to disbelieve about that. So if that's the case, then get an experienced offensive mind in there and see what they say about it. Victor texting in, what about someone like Mike McDaniel, assuming he doesn't get another head coaching job? That'd be great. I just don't know if they're going to do that, because the more and more I see it and the more and more openings that pop up, Mike McDaniel might get another head coaching job. He very well might. I don't know if it'd be the right move, but that could be the case, because everyone was going after John Harbaugh, right? Every single team that had the opening, and even teams that at the time did not have openings. He's taken now. Giants got him. Mike Tomlin's going into TV, most likely, so he's not available. Kevin Stefanski's obviously out there. But after you see him go to where he wants to go, then everybody else is picking from either the fired head coaches and giving them another chance or the coordinator route, pretty much. So Mike McDaniel is all of a sudden kind of near the top of that heap, if you ask me. So I don't know if the Chiefs will get him from that. Same deal when it comes to guys that are coaching in the playoffs right now. I know Nate Scheelhaase is talked about as being a prime candidate for a promotion. Essentially, he's the pass game coordinator for the Rams, and he's a Kansas City native. And so people talk about him a lot as being a real possibility to join the Chiefs as the offensive coordinator. But he's getting head coaching calls, and if he's getting enough of those, he's probably not taking a coordinator job. If that ends up being the move, the Chiefs, if they end up going with Eric Bieniemy somehow, it would at least feel like to me that they didn't get their guy. Because I don't know if going down that road again is really going to unlock something new with this offense. And again, that's not to say that Eric Bieniemy was a bad offensive coordinator when he was with the Chiefs. Obviously, their offense was very good when he was there, and it led to him every year being talked about as a head coach, but maybe just something was happening with the disconnect between him and other teams when it came to that particular role that they didn't want to pull the trigger on him. And that's maybe leading to some of the unspoken stuff, the rumors, the reports of how things were vibe-wise with everybody else on the Chiefs. I don't know. Maybe he just rubbed people the wrong way in interviews. I don't know. But he's a good offensive coordinator. If you're really trying to get the run game going again, maybe it is the right move. But someone else can do that, man. Because it's not going to be just about, adding another yard per carry to your rushing total. No, you do need to find better ways to protect Mahomes, get him more reliant on the pass catchers that he has out at his disposal, not named Travis Kelce, and allow this offense to evolve into something different with a difference-making quarterback, with a generational quarterback. I don't know if that's Eric Bieniemy, guys. 875-KTGR if you want to weigh in on that. Pete saying 4 times in a row, no EB, no EB. Yeah, I kind of agree. I just don't. It would signal to me one of two things. You're either dead set on having a better run game, and you're okay with all of the negativity that might come from whatever ended the past tenure for Eric Bieniemy with the Chiefs, however that breakup happened, or you just didn't get your guy. That your guy that you really wanted got a head coaching gig or something like that. I would think that the Chiefs are the most desirable offensive coordinator opening out there, assuming, again, that the opening will be there, but I think it will be. It's got to be above the top. It's got to be at the top of the list. Heck, is it even more attractive than some head coaching jobs? Like, would you take Chiefs OC over Browns head coach? I would. If I get it, I mean, even if I don't have to call plays, even if Andy's still calling the plays, I mean, because that can set you up to, if you bring in the right perspective and you find something different that the Chiefs can use at their disposal to get a little more production than they did last year, then you're going to be right in the head coaching conversation after 1 year of working with this Chiefs offense. I mean, we didn't even think Matt Nagy was that good this year, and he's getting interviewed by the Titans. So it might be more desirable than the Browns, maybe even the Titans. Although Matt Nagy interviewing for the Titans might put a wrench into that. But I would take a long, hard look if I was a coach in that position, an offensive coach, say like, okay, could be head coach at a dysfunctional organization or an offensive coordinator at a great organization with a great quarterback and a great head coach that catapults me right at the top of the list of candidates when more good jobs open up the next year. Yeah, try it for a year or two, see how it goes. It's probably why it would be attractive to Mike McDaniel, but I think teams are already kind of in on like, okay, let's see if we can get him. Because he is getting head coaching interviews. But, man, if they go the Eric Bieniemy route, I'd be disappointed. And again, the way Mahomes kind of talked about it today, using the word accountability and saying, hey, we got to get back to that. Maybe a signal that once the Bears get eliminated from the playoffs, whether it's this weekend or next, or heck, maybe they go to the Super Bowl. I don't know. That'd be cool, though. Once they get bounced, like, all eyes are going to be on where their staff goes, and I think it might be worth paying attention to Kansas City fans where Eric Bieniemy goes. Maybe. Because there's a bunch of candidates out there now, and don't you think they would have scooped him up and at least had an interview with them if they knew they were going to have an opening, that they were going to have a different offensive coordinator? Or are they just waiting for Matt Nagy to get a head coaching job before they actually start this search in earnest? I mean, if that's the case, then maybe there's a good chance that Matt Nagy even returns. And they're just like, okay, you didn't get the job at Tennessee. All right, I guess you're back here. Cool. That also would be a little disappointing. Like the redux needs to be ended. Like you need something new to evolve into a different era of your team. Travis Kelce will not be part of your team in this new era. Maybe he is on your team next year. I don't know. I would guess not. I still think he's going to retire, but obviously he hasn't said yet, so we wait. But you have to operate under the assumption that he is not a true reliant target or a true reliant source of offense for your team going forward. You have to operate with other guys taking up that mantle. And he can be here. But if you're just putting him here so that he can try to be on the Chiefs one more time on a championship group and doesn't want to go out 6-11, okay, great, but the salary does have to be right there. Can't give you $15 million for that. No, we got to use that to revamp some stuff on this offense. So your next offensive coordinator, whoever it might be and whenever they might come in, needs to mold this offense around something different than what it has been molded around in the past years. I don't think Eric Bieniemy's going to do that, guys. Just call me crazy, but I don't think it's happening. So we'll see. We wait on how the Chiefs are going to play that situation. In the meantime, give us your thoughts here on The Big Show, 573-875-KTGR. Who do you think they need to target as an offensive coordinator? Should the job be open at some point? And if you have a case for Eric Bieniemy, let me know. I'd love to hear it. I just don't know if I would agree with it. Coming up, we'll talk about John Harbaugh going to the Giants and the most likely upset this weekend in the NFL divisional round. Give them to us, 573-875-KTGR. That's all next here on The Big Show.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Caesars Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesars rewards. Bet on gridiron action and earn perks on every game like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code radio250BM and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250, whether you win or lose. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Missouri. Open to new users only. Minimum odds -500. Awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It starts with one little itch. One tiny red spot you swear wasn't there yesterday. Probably just a mosquito bite, right? Then you see another. And before you know it, you're lifting the corner of your mattress and finding exactly what you didn't want to see. Bed bugs. And here's the thing about bed bugs. They don't care how clean your house is. They don't care if you just did laundry. So you've got two choices. You can ignore them, buy some over-the-counter spray, and hope they decide to pack their bags. Or you can call Steve's Pest Control and get real help from real locals. They're mid-Missouri born and raised. They know our weather, our homes, and our bugs. They know where they hide, how they spread, and most importantly, how to get rid of them for good.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
Oh my, what are you waiting for? Lose the weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis, guaranteed only $59.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right. Hypnosis Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 o'clock. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Hi, I'm David Bale, Exterior Project Specialist for True Sun Exteriors and Interiors. Unlike a lot of our competition, we have a 5-year labor warranty, which ensures that even after 1 or 2 seasons, if an issue rears its ugly head, we're going to stand behind it. Any new installation we do, which is going to be roofing, siding, decks, windows, doors, all that kind of stuff has a full 5-year labor warranty. So we're going to stand behind all of our workmanship for 5 years after the installation is complete. Let's just say hypothetically we get a storm or something and maybe something comes loose or there's some caulking that gets out of whack. We do a roof and a leak shows up a year later. Sometimes you get a weird storm. You just never know what's going to happen. Anything like that, we're going to stand behind and we're going to take care of it.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
Chiefs fans want to hear from you. Who would be your next OC? If, in fact, there is an OC search coming soon. 573-875-KTGR here on The Big Show to talk about it. There's some talk about it being Eric Bieniemy. I would not go that way. Sorry. I mean, Pete texting in, no EB. The Redux needs to get out of this team's repertoire. Just gotta completely block that out. Victor saying, is there anyone from the collegiate ranks that may warrant the jump to an NFL staff? I think most people that are available in college football, there aren't very many attractive candidates available right now, right? Like their hiring cycle is kind of all taken care of. And so, except for maybe the position coaches at this point, you'd have to think that there's maybe a possibility that you get a sitting OC or a sitting head coach to make that jump. But I don't know if that person's available right now, because I think all of those jobs are pretty much spoken for at this point in the college football calendar. Except for, again, there's a bunch of position coaches that are open, and we'll see how those get filled across the country. But yeah, you're probably not getting that at the moment. If you're able to convince somebody that currently is under contract next year to be either a head coach or an offensive coordinator for a power conference school, great. But I just don't know if that's happening. I think you're picking from a pack of people that are NFL coaches right now, proven success as an offensive mind in either a pass game coordinator situation, run game coordinator, the offensive coordinator, whatever it might be. We'll see. But that's got to be anybody but Eric Bieniemy, if you ask me. Joe says, please no EB. Benefited from having Tyreek Hill. How about Brian Dable? That's an interesting one. I kind of thought, it wouldn't happen now because, John Harbaugh's going to the Giants, and he's bringing Todd Monken, by the way, so that was expected. But Dable is an interesting offensive coordinator possibility. Again, we'd have to really see what the Chiefs' direction is once the opening actually does come free and Matt Nagy gets a job somewhere else. And by the way, if he doesn't, it's probably a high likelihood that he's just going to be the OC, which, and maybe all this talk is for naught. But to me, I would love Dable. I would love Mike McDaniel. The Cliff Kingsbury stuff, maybe, but you have to see the opening come free first, and you do have to have those conversations with the candidates now that don't get the head coaching jobs. As we start to see more of those jobs get filled, I think we'll then see who is available for the Chiefs to go out and get. But Dable might be it. Again, didn't like Dable as a head coach. I do think he kind of weighed down what this season could have been for them, and they obviously decided to get ahead of it and fire him mid-season. But yeah, interesting guy to have take the reins if, in fact, that's what they end up doing. So call or text us here at 573-875-KTGR. You can also leave a comment on our YouTube channel or on Facebook like Damon has here. Never hiring a real OC with Andy calling the plays. And yeah, that's a conversation they got to have. That's part of the evolution. Because if you're bringing back Eric Bieniemy, he's probably not calling plays. You're probably just bringing him back for the same deal that he was here for the first time. Obviously, coach up the offense, put guys in the right spot, but you're not taking the reins. And because you're not taking the reins, there's a possibility that there could be some hot heads in the room that all disagree. So that's potentially an issue again. So it's why if they don't relinquish the play calling duties, or Andy Reid doesn't do that, then you probably get Eric Bieniemy again. But we'll see. In the end, we do have to see that opening come free first, and then we'll talk. We'll get to some more NFL talk here in just a second. Do want to remind folks that coming up in a little more than 2 weeks, we've got a trivia night benefiting the Children's Miracle Network. It's going to be at the Knights of Columbus Hall in Columbia. It's on North Stadium Boulevard, Friday, January 30th. So that's 2 weeks from tomorrow night. And look, you probably know some sports. I'm sure there's going to be at least one sports category in this, but maybe you're just know it all in general. Well, then come show it off at trivia night. You can buy a table now. You can have a table of 8, and it'll be 10 rounds of trivia to test you and your friends' knowledge. Plus, there's going to be some fun mini games you can take part in. There's a silent auction as well. You can win some Really cool prizes there. There's going to be beer available for purchase. All the proceeds support MU Children's Hospital and the Children's Miracle Network. It's a great cause, obviously, and our sister stations here at Zimmer Communications do an excellent job every year with the Children's Miracle Network Radiothon that gets put on. That'll be next month, and certainly looking forward to that. But this is another way to support the MU Children's Hospital and the incredible work that they do for our kids. And so go and check out the details at ktgr.com as to how you can get your table for trivia night coming up Friday, January 30th, Knights of Columbus Hall in Columbia. 6 o'clock is when trivia will start. Doors open at 5:30. Get all the details over at ktgr.com. All right, this weekend, what's the most likely upset that could happen in the divisional round? To me, I'll tell you the one that I want the most, and, well, I mean, I guess selfishly I want the Texans. 3-point underdogs, by the way, at New England. We'll get to picks of the week here in a little bit and get more on that. But I would say that it would be a whole lot of fun to see the Bears, right? Get a home underdog this weekend. They're obviously, it's harder to get those when you get to this round because the 1 seed has been sitting at home and resting, and so it's a little bit easier for them to be the favorite. Although Bills opened as the favorite against the Broncos, and now it's switched over to Broncos as -1.5 for Saturday. So take your pick, really. Vegas still probably thinks the Bills are a little bit better than the Broncos and should be winning that game. But to me, the most likely one, I mean, obviously it is the Bills by the point spread at the moment, but it's almost hard to call them the favorites or the underdogs when they started as the favorite, and then the money all poured in. The Broncos are all of a sudden favored by 1.5. Like, the true underdogs this weekend are the 49ers, the Texans, and the Bears. And out of that group, who's more likely to get it done? I mean, Bears are at home, but man, the Rams, if they really do turn on the Jets as a result of how close it was in Carolina this past weekend, watch out. They're winning the Super Bowl if that happens. If they are no nonsense the rest of the way. And this could very easily be the game that he wouldn't be judged on it for the MVP award, obviously, but it could be validating for if he wins the MVP for Matthew Stafford to go off for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and just run away with this game and not allow the Bears to have any kind of opening, even though they're the comeback kids and did it this past weekend against the Packers. I just think the Rams might be too good there. And even with the Bears at home and the magic that's been around them, probably not going to go their way. I mean, my homer in me certainly says Texans. They're +3. I don't know if I saw what I needed to see out of CJ Stroud to actually think he's going to be up for this again in an environment where his mistakes will be more likely to be punished by the Patriots. Steelers were not capable of actually punishing those mistakes that he made, just putting the ball on the ground as much as he did, not knowing when the snap's coming his way, things like that. If he does that again, Patriots are going to gobble him up. Texans defense can play as good as they want to, but Texans need to score. Can't have defensive touchdowns every single game. So I don't put it as the high likely one. It's the one that I'm hoping for the most, obviously. But Patriots -3 seems about right. Interesting, though, see the injury report. And I actually need to see if it has affected the point spread at all for 49ers Seahawks. Apparently, Sam Darnold popped up on the injury report, and he's questionable this week. So Seahawks off of the bye, maybe without their quarterback. Who knows? I'm looking at the sports books and it hasn't changed really much. Although, like, it was sitting at 7 at a lot of places. I saw a few 7.5s out there, and I don't see any 7.5 numbers at any of the sports book that I usually reference here on this show showing 7.5 anymore. It is 7 across the board. And look, it takes a lot to move a number from 7 to 7.5 and vice versa. So it at least has been a little bit meaningful in that sense for a few of the books to see the Sam Darnold injury. Be like, okay, if he's not playing, certainly we have to change our expectations. And even if he is playing, how different does it look for him? Because it's an oblique, apparently, for Sam Darnold. Not a great thing to be having at this time of year. So I don't know if that really tips the scale to the 49ers going and winning the game because they got their own injury issues, obviously. Where is Brock Purdy going to turn to? And are we sure that Brock Purdy is the type of quarterback that can go into that environment and play with the amount of poise that you need to pull off an upset playoff win at this stage? I'm not so sure. So even that seems pretty unlikely. I'm eliminating Bills Broncos from this conversation. Honestly, as the game gets closer, it might just be a pick'em, and there will be no underdog. Honestly, the underdog in that situation is the Broncos because they'll have home field, but Vegas won't give you points one way or the other. So they'll think that the Broncos are worse than the Bills. If you really are going to call the Broncos underdogs, then sure, that's probably the team that is most likely to win out of the other underdogs. But out of those first three that we talked about, I'll say Bears. Not going to go. I probably won't go as far to say that they will, in fact, win the game outright definitively. It could be a field goal game, though, where 3.5 could help you out. But Texans, this has been their ceiling. They have never been to the AFC Championship game. And so in order for them to do that, they're going to have to show something that they've never shown anyone before. So I don't know if that's very likely. And then, yeah, Sam Darnold could be hurt, but I think the Seahawks will be fine against the Niners. Give us your take, though, 573-875-KTGR. What's the most likely upset in the NFL divisional round this weekend? We might be picking some upsets and picks of the week very soon, so we'll get to that coming up next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good evening, I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Mizzou basketball defeated Auburn last night, 84-74. The Tiger men got 22 points from Jaden Stone and 20 points from Mark Mitchell. Also, a 5-for-7 shooting night from three for Trent Pierce. He had 18 points, and T.O. Barrett with a career-high 13 off the bench. As Mizzou's Tigers get to 13-4 overall and 3-1 in the SEC, which puts them in a 5-way tie for first atop the SEC standings. Next game for Mizzou is at the LSU Tigers Saturday at 2:30. Mizzou women's basketball still winless in conference play, but a chance to get that first win tonight as they take on unranked Arkansas. Razorbacks come in 11-8 overall. Tigers are 12-7 so far this season. Tip-off at 6:30, pregame at 6:15 right here on KTGR. And Mizzou Wrestling tonight gets back to action. First action for them since the first weekend of 2026. The Soldier Salute. Tigers at Arizona State in Big 12 play. Action gets started at 7:30. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew. When your world seems to have been wrecked, call the team you hope you never have to meet, I-70 Towing.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking increasing clouds tonight, a chance for a few flurries. Temperatures drop down into the upper 20s, and tomorrow we'll see mostly cloudy skies, some snow showers by late afternoon, giving us a dusting on the grass by Friday evening. We'll be left with colder temperatures for the weekend, with temperatures in the teens on Saturday morning, wind chills in the single digits. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
The foundation is set.
Missouri knocks off the number 1 team in the nation.
The frame is built.
On the run, Mitchell for the flush, Missouri by 20.
And the gates
the habits, the response to detail, the execution, all that stuff matters.
Are open.
Drives right baseline to the rim, jams it as he hangs and got fouled.
This is your radio home for Mizzou basketball.
Cruz, here comes a 3. Bang! He splashed it home.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
Losing a loved one is probably the hardest punch you will ever take in the fight of life. Dealing with the fallout, finances, and how to replace that loss of income for your family is even harder. That's why Phyllis Nichols and her team are so passionate about life insurance. Phyllis Nichols is the 12-round agent who fights for your best interests and knows exactly what you need. Get your life insurance with State Farm Agency licensed Phyllis Nichols, the 12-round agent.
It's hard to believe basketball season is already here. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill reminds you that whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you just want to plop down with some friends and watch some hoops on TV, they've got a spot for you. 1851 Underground has drink specials and discount happytizers for happy hour. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's not a secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Life has many sweet sounds, whether it's being enchanted by the coo of a baby, enthralled by the refrain of a favorite song, or even enlightened by a celebration. Hearing connects, informs, and engages us with the world. At Hearing Aid Consultants, helping people hear better is our passion. Set your hearing baseline now so you don't miss the sweet sounds of life.
Hearing Aid Consultants in Almake Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
It was 1 p.m. on a Monday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration answered the call. It was a panicked family with a mouse problem. Well, a mouse/plumbing problem. Their toilet was more backed up than the connector at 63 and I-70. But Brian's team eventually plucked out the problem. It was a mouse, but like the computer kind, which the family then asked if they could keep afterwards. We didn't ask why. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
So, Mr. Fancy Dancy Sports Car Dude, you say you were distracted by a raccoon feasting in the road? Okay. How about the fact that you were going way too fast when there's like 5 inches of snow on the ground? Nice ditch you got there, bro. Now you need a savior, a do-over. Find your phone and just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for slide-offs. When your winter world seems to have been wrecked, call the team they hope you never have to meet. I-70towing.com. A raccoon. Just ridiculous.
Have you heard? There's a new biscuit on the block. In this month's issue of Inside Columbia magazine, hear why people are raving about the hot new brunch spot in town. Hit your fitness goals with our local gym feature. And if Google can't answer your question, turn to our Ask the Expert section for straight advice from area pros. It's all inside Columbia magazine. Get your copy today at break time convenience stores or have it delivered at InsideColumbia.net.
Hi, we're Midway Electric. When winter hits, electrical issues can turn serious fast, at home or at your business. That's why you need a trusted local team that shows up, solves the problem, and stands behind the work. From whole home generators and security systems to everyday service and repairs, Midway Electric has you covered. And now through January, get $500 off a whole home generator installation to keep you powered up no matter the weather. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Here we go. Picks of the week time here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy here. No Brendan. But producer Natalie is here to represent the producers. So we are ready to get Picks of the Week underway once again. I know Natalie has been raring to go, too, with Picks of the Week for this one.
It's all right. It's all right.
But, I mean, 4-1 for the producers last week. So,
there we go.
Back in the fold, obviously. I went 3-2. Brendan's not here. We're told it's because of the birth of his child, and yes, that is true, and that is, in fact, the case why he's out this week. I do wonder if the 0-5 that he had in the picks of the week had anything to do with it.
I don't know.
His absence today.
Maybe.
Could be there. 0-5. I don't know if anybody's gone 0-5 this year yet, but I guess Brendan was the first one. He's still in the season lead as we flash up the standings here on YouTube and on Facebook. Again, everyone focus on the 0-5 part for Brendan. If you
really
want.
highlight that part.
Yeah, the bold circle. I don't know if we can do a telestrator thing on YouTube yet. Maybe that's in the cards. I don't know. But we'll still try to catch him in the season standings and see if there are more 0-5s in his future. Producers get to pick the order this week, Natalie. So really, the way this will work is since Brendan's not here, Natalie and I will make the picks that we want, and then Brendan will just take the leftovers. It is a bit of a disadvantage for him, but we've all had to experience it before. So, Natalie, you pick which one of us goes first here.
Can I be selfish because I want to take Mizzou first?
Do it. I mean, yeah, that's the strategy.
I'm gonna have to go first. I'm gonna go Mizzou +5. I got to go for my Tigers.
Yeah, Mizzou +5. These are the KenPom projections, by the way. We don't have actual spreads yet since they won't come out until tomorrow because we're doing picks of the week a little bit early. So KenPom says that Mizzou is going to lose the LSU game by 5. So the point spread would mean that if you pick Mizzou, you can get 5 points added on top of that. So first pick for the producers is Mizzou +5 against LSU. We have all of the SEC basketball games for Saturday available to be picked, as well as a few extra college hoops games, Miami, Clemson, Duke, Stanford, and BYU, Texas Tech. And then obviously the NFL playoff games and the college football playoff national championship Monday night. That's available to be picked as well with Miami and Indiana. I am going to go to one of the football games first. I actually do think the Bears will cover. I don't know if they win, but I could very easily see it being a 3-point game. So I'll say Bears at least keep it close against the Rams. I picked Bears last week, ended up working out, so I get the extra value of 3.5 while hoping that they beat the Rams because I would like that outcome for everyone involved. Go ahead, producers.
I'm going to take the college football playoffs.
Okay.
And I'm going to go Indiana.
That's probably the right move, right?
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to play it safe for my team right now, and I'm going to go with Indiana.
They seem inevitable. I just really hope that is a closer game, but that they're going to win. And it's just a matter of by how much.
Yeah, we need a fun game out of that for sure for the last game, though.
All right, so the producers take Indiana -8.5 here on the Picks of the Week, Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. Okay, so I got to go elsewhere. I don't feel as confident in taking Miami in that game. Do I feel confident taking Miami in basketball? No, I'm gonna pass up on that too. I'm gonna say Alabama goes on the road and trounces Oklahoma this weekend. It's +4 on the Oklahoma side, so Alabama laying 4 in that situation according to KenPom. But I think they outplay the projection a little bit, and I'll say that Alabama bounces back. Like they probably feel like they need some results in their favor on the road, and so I think they make no mistake against the Sooners. So give me Alabama -4.
Okay, I'm going to go the Texas rivalry here with the Aggies and the Longhorns.
Okay.
And I am going A&M.
Wow.
I am not a University of Texas fan, so I'm going to take the Aggies in this one, A&M +5.
Yeah, that's my family in a nutshell. There's a divide right down the middle when it comes to that. But I decided to stay out of it and obviously be in the state of Missouri. Okay. Man, is Auburn just going to take out some frustration on South Carolina this weekend? That's a big number, -11. South Carolina really hurt their KenPom number by losing by as much as they did to, I believe it was Arkansas yesterday. Yeah, I'll take Auburn. I'll say Auburn lays the points, gets 11 there, or more than an 11-point win. Maybe it'll be right at 11, but we'll see. Picks of the week here on the Big Show KTGR. All right, Natalie, round 4.
I'm going to stay in the basketball realm, and I'm going to go Texas Tech -1. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with the spread.
All right. Texas Tech -1. Big game against BYU. Two pretty like teams. It could go either way. Home team probably does win that by 1, though, so you're probably on the right side. Okay, I'll dive back into football. Bills +1.5 is just straight up good value to me, so I'll say I'll take that. Bills +4, or not +4, +1.5 at the Broncos, and leave it at that. I just would love to see the Broncos lose too. All right, one more pick for the producers.
I'm going to take the Duke and Stanford game, and I'm going to go Stanford +3. Rooting for the underdogs here.
Ooh, okay.
Yep.
Home team. East Coast team going west for that game. Very interesting there, and it's just an awful situation that the ACC has put themselves in.
I will never get over that.
No, yeah. As you shouldn't. It is weird. Okay. One more pick for me as we wrap up here on Picks of the Week for now, and Brendan's picks will be added later. He'll take from the leftovers. Oh, let's see. Do I just go ahead and just put my heart into it and say the Texans will win the game at the Patriots? Why not?
Do it.
Give me Texans. +3 at the Patriots. I knew that it was going to be available to me at the end. Maybe I get heartbroken in multiple ways in that game, but hey, it worked out last week. They were underdog. They weren't underdogs last week against the Steelers, but didn't end up hurting them. Again, glad that they got somebody in the draft of C.J. Stroud that could score touchdowns. It was a defensive player, but still got someone in the draft that they traded up for that could score in the playoffs. I don't know. I just got to be shown that C.J. Stroud can actually get it done. But hey, I'm picking them.
That was a good choice. If I would have picked them, I was going to pick the Texans.
You were going to do it?
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, you left them for me. I appreciate that.
Of course.
And we'll see if that ends up happening there. But thank you for joining us here on The Big Show. Thanks also to Drew King at PowerMizzou.com for coming on earlier. We've got a special show tomorrow. Join us live from the Cardinals Caravan event in Jefferson City at the Missouri Farm Bureau Center. The event will actually get started at 6 o'clock. That's when you can hear from the Cardinals and get autographs and a bunch of different cool prizes. But you can hear our show live from there, 4 to 6 o'clock, as always. And we'll likely get a chance to talk to some of the Cardinals that are on hand. So join us for that tomorrow, live from the Missouri Farm Bureau Center in Jefferson City, right before Cardinals Caravan. Thanks for joining us today. Back at 4 tomorrow. She's producer Natalie. I'm Andy. We're done for now.